Let's talk about a huge and honestly often invisible risk that a lot of businesses are facing right now: outdated compliance training. I mean, we're in a world where laws change at lightning speed. So, what happens when your team's knowledge is stuck in the past? Well, the consequences can be absolutely staggering. I love this quote because it just nails the problem, doesn't it? If your training on something like workplace conduct or data privacy hasn't really changed in the last decade, you're not just behind the times, you're basically courting disaster. It's a pretty stark warning that what was okay yesterday might be a massive lawsuit today. So what's really going on here? At its core, it's about this dangerous gap. You see, regulations are a moving target, right? They're constantly being updated for new tech, for new social norms. But the problem is, a lot of corporate training is just static. And that creates this huge divide between what the law actually requires and what your employees know. It's like a tale of two timelines. On one side, you've got the legal landscape, which is dynamic, it's complex, it's changing all the time. And on the other side, you've got traditional training. You know the kind. Static, generic, a one and done, check the box exercise. The two are just completely out of sync. And if you're wondering if that training even works, well, the data is pretty shocking. A staggering 74% of employees forget what they learned within a single month. Even worse, 40% can't even recall their basic duties, like how to report harassment. This isn't just ineffective, it's a foundation built for failure. So let's be crystal clear about this. This goes way beyond just some boring videos that your employees click through while they do other work. This is a fundamental breakdown that directly exposes an entire organization to really severe legal and financial pain. So, what kind of pain are we talking about? When these training gaps exist, they don't just stay on paper as a risk assessment. Nope, they become very real and very, very expensive business liabilities. Okay, let's talk real numbers. Take a look at this. 1.2 billion euros. That was a real fine handed out under Europe's GDPR for data privacy violations. This isn't some hypothetical boogeyman. It's the kind of penalty that can absolutely cripple a company. And it all stems from failing to keep up with modern rules. And you know, these fines aren't just some random number pulled out of a hat. Under rules like GDPR, regulators can fine a company up to 4% of its global annual turnover. For the big corporations, that can mean billions. That's how seriously regulators are taking this stuff. And this isn't just a data privacy thing, not by a long shot. Here's a 1.1 billion pound penalty against a global bank for failing to have proper anti-money laundering controls. The regulators report, it pointed to basic, preventable failures, exactly the kind of thing that up-to-date training is meant to stop. So why do these massive breaches keep happening? You think it's some super sophisticated hack, right? But the real reason is almost frustratingly simple. In the first year of GDPR, a whopping 83% of reported breaches came down to human error or a simple lack of awareness. It's not people being malicious, it's employees who just weren't trained on the new rules of the road. And look, the fines are just the tip of the iceberg. We're also talking about incredibly expensive lawsuits, government sanctions that can literally halt your operations, and losing out on business deals because partners just don't trust you. And that's not even getting into the damage to public trust and your own internal culture, which can take years, if ever, to rebuild. You might be thinking, okay, that's a Europe thing, or that's a finance thing, but no, what we're seeing is a massive global shift. It's a tidal wave of new regulations that every single multinational organization has to figure out how to navigate. And the pace of change is just accelerating. I mean, GDPR in 2018, that was kind of the starting gun. By 2024, you've got 137 countries that have followed suit with their own data privacy laws. And looking ahead, something like the EU's AI Act is going to bring in entirely new training rules for AI literacy. The rulebook is constantly being rewritten right under our feet. So you see, staying on top of this stuff today is like fighting a war on multiple fronts. For data privacy, your teams need to know about consumer rights. For workplace conduct, big reforms have led to mandatory interactive training. In finance, geopolitical events mean you have to constantly update people on sanctions. And now with emerging tech, you've got completely new needs, like AI ethics training. It's a lot. Okay, that was a lot of doom and gloom, I get it. But the good news is, this is fixable. There are clear, actionable strategies to get ahead of this. It's all about shifting your training from being that static checkbox to being a dynamic, living safeguard for your business. And it all starts with a total shift in how you think about training. The old way, it was static content, one size fits all, done once a year to check a box. The new, effective way is to see training content as a living thing. It's modular, it's tailored to specific roles, because what marketing needs is different than finance, and it's delivered as a continuous, ongoing process. So, how do you actually do it? Well, there are 5 key strategies. First, you need a system for continuous updates. Second, your training has to be modular and role-based. Third, you've got to embrace interactive tech, scenarios, games, whatever works. Fourth, use data to find and fix those knowledge gaps. And finally, and this is a big one, you have to build a culture where compliance is actually everyone's responsibility. Let's zoom in on one of those ideas for a sec, microlearning. It's a real game changer. Instead of some massive 1-hour training session that everyone dreads, this is about delivering short, frequent little snippets of information. A 5-minute video here, a quick quiz there. It fights that forgetfulness factor and makes learning about new rules a regular, totally manageable part of work. Because at the end of the day, here's what all of this is really about. It's about building your strongest line of defense. Sure, technology and policies are important, but a well-trained, knowledgeable workforce that actually understands the why behind the rules, that is your most powerful asset in preventing these costly failures. So let's tie this all together. Building that line of defense isn't a project with an end date. It means embracing a new philosophy of continuous compliance. It's about transforming your approach to turn what is now a huge risk into a source of real organizational resilience. If there is one thing you remember from all this, let it be this. Compliance training cannot be a task you just check off a list. It has to be an ongoing journey, woven right into the fabric of your company, just like cybersecurity or quality control. It needs constant attention and constant adaptation. And when you get this right, the payoff is huge. And we're not just talking about avoiding trouble. It's about building a stronger reputation with your customers, creating a healthier, more ethical workplace, and honestly, just having better business practices all around. Good compliance really is just good business. So I'll leave you with a question to take back to your own team, your own organization. Take a really hard look at your compliance training. Is it truly a tool that's reducing your risk in this incredibly fast-changing world? Or by being static and out of date, could it actually be making things worse? The answer to that question could very well define your company's future. Thanks for joining me.